Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another live from my safe Gaven. Thank you guys for joining me here. If you couldn't tell from the title of this live stream, we will be talking WandaVision, my most anticipated property coming out of the DCEU for Phase 4. So if you haven't seen WandaVision or you don't care about spoil. I mean, you shouldn't be here if you haven't seen it, because then what are you going to participate in the conversation? But if you don't care about spoilers or anything, welcome. So yeah, I have before we jump into it, I have a very special guest here joining me to participate in this discussion. His name is Jason Primrose, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So yes, Jason, come on down on the Fortress of Gayitude. That's another thing I call my house. So,
oh my,
hey.
I'm dying at these names. Okay, first of all, let me.
Yeah, I was like, because I was trying to think of what should I call my. It was either Fortress of Gayitude or the Safe Gaven, and so I sometimes switch between both of them.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna have to just because you said the DCEU and.
Oh wait, I said DCEU.
Yeah, and
shit.
Left.
No. I think it's because I just told you about my DC shelf.
Yes,
So
yes.
DC was in my head. But no, the MCU. Fuck the DCEU.
Right.
So let's try that again. My most anticipated property in the MCU.
Somebody will come after you for it anyway. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm like, I know we met like, 2 weeks ago on Clubhouse?
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been friends forever. So I'm Jason Primrose. I'm the author of Lost Children of Andromeda book series. Zosma is my book that's out right now. You can see it behind me. Some of my characters.
And actually, I just ordered my copy.
And I've also got another book coming out. The Kickstarter launches in February for 2050Z, which is the prequel to this book. And the book actually launches in May. So I'm super excited about all of the stuff that's happening. And I'm just grateful to be here this morning.
I'm happy to have you here. And yeah, guys, for his book series, I will leave that link for that in the description below so you can get it. Hashtag rooting for everybody black. Always looking for other, especially this, like I made a New Year's resolution to myself to read more black fantasy sci-fi for this year, because I noticed, because I just moved into this apartment like this year or last year. And while I was putting all my books and stuff away, I was like, wow, I don't have like really any black sci-fi fantasy authors. Like, that is a travesty.
Oh my gosh. Do you need recommendations? Because I have a list. I have a whole list.
No, I think I found a good,
found all of them.
Pretty much.
Not that many.
Yeah, it's not that many.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got like Children of Blood, which I had already. I just hadn't read it yet. Yeah. But like Children of Blood and Bone, Children of Virtue, Avengers. I never read any of Octavia Butler's stuff. Mm-hmm. There's another book called The Rage of Dragons, which they call like the Black Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, who's that by again?
Evan Winter. No, that's the one. I think the one you're thinking of is Red Leopard, Red Wolf.
Marlon James. Yeah.
Yeah, Marlon James.
That's
book. I just got that. I got that too. I got N.K. Jemisin's The Broken Earth trilogy. L. McKinney's A Blade So Black. Yeah. And a bunch of other stuff that more than likely, the way I work, I probably won't read for another like 7,000 years. So like,
we may have to start a book club where we like try to read a book a month and like talk about it.
We will. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about holding me to that, like a book a month.
I mean, so the trick is that
because I've been trying to read Kindred since the beginning of this month, and I haven't opened it yet.
Oh really? I try to read 20 pages a day. 10 in the morning, 10 at night. It's just it's not crazy. It's manageable. The next thing you know, the book's done because there really aren't that many pages.
No, I mean, you're better than me.
I mean, that's like a New Year's resolution. It hasn't happened yet. I did it with Children of Blood and Bone, and that took me a long time to finish. But I think it took me a long time to finish because the lore is so deep, and it was like I would reread sections so that I could like really like sink into it. And I think that has me that I haven't read Children of Ritual and Vengeance yet, but that's on my list next.
Yeah, I definitely want to read it because I know they're doing the movie from Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
So
they had that sign before the book even came out.
Yeah, they had a sign before. That was actually how I heard about it. It was like, oh, book's not even out yet, and it's already getting a movie. I was like, what is this? And it was like Black Afrofuturism and all that other stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, let me get it. And then it sat on my shelf for like I have a terrible habit of buying stuff and then not touching it for a long time. Just so I can have it, because when I finally want to get into it, I want to get into it. I don't want to have to wait or anything like that. Because I have this. It's the same problem I have with movies. Like I have a whole bunch of movies on my shelf that I haven't even watched yet, and a lot of them I had for a while.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I'm a terrible person. But hold on, let me do this. I just noticed. I'm like, I didn't post.
It's okay. By the time you read Zosma, it'll be 2050Z will be out. The movie will be out.
Probably. I'll be on, get my AARP card. But give me just a second. I just realized I'm
out on Netflix.
I'm like, I didn't post I was going live on Twitter today.
I'm trying to get my lighting good. I shouldn't lean in. I'm all washed out.
So I'm like, let me post this real quick.
Hey, I'm so glad you messaged me about WandaVision 2, because I seriously was like, I've been waiting for that show forever. Oh, these.
So yeah, we're gonna get into it right
Here we go.
now. So yeah, so what did you think of we're discussing episodes 1 and 2. So yeah, what did you think of episodes 1 and 2 of WandaVision?
Okay, so
were you excited about it?
I was so excited about it. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, yes. And that it had the same like cinematic quality of the movies, like it wasn't watered down in any way. That's what my perception of it was when I saw the trailer. And I just was so obsessed with Wanda and Vision. I felt like they got backseated and they were like the best. Like Wanda was like the best, like female superhero in that movie, and she should have got her own movie, and Captain Marvel did instead. But I don't want to talk about that. So I was super excited about it, and then I was a big Night fan. So I don't know what you watched when you were a kid, but I was always watching Bewitched and those like old timey shows, Rhoda and all that other shit. So
you could curse.
So I really, really loved that like nod to that, the ridiculousness of it. Like, and that's kind of what I felt like it was. There's like this ridiculousness of them like trying to play normal in this world that they really don't know how they got to, which is cool, because I thought we were being dropped into an ongoing story, but the story actually starts when we started. Because they don't know anything that happened before when they got there.
Yeah.
Like when they pulled up to the house.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is really insane.
So yeah, they're not giving you anything.
Nothing. Zero things. So I like how the whole first episode really played into that, just that genre of like old time television. And it was very weird. I was unsure what was happening the whole time in the first episode, and I was like, is something going to shift soon? And I like knew instinctively that it would, but it didn't really shift in that moment. But I think my favorite things about the first episode, like when Vision was like asking about like the computing, and Wanda was like, I don't know what this date means, and the neighbor is so ridiculous. Like Diane is so over the top. Like and she references this husband that we never see, which again reminds me so much of those like old shows. But yeah, what did you think? Funny
enough, like, hold on, before I say that, like what I thought, I was like, I don't know if you noticed this, but I saw a lot of people. Granted, overall, the general consensus is people love it. But as I was jumping into other YouTube pages and stuff like that, I'm seeing that a lot of people didn't like it that much. Like I saw a lot of people said it was bad, or a lot of people were saying it was really, really slow. And I couldn't disagree more. And part of that, I think, is the fact that, kind of like what you said, I really enjoyed a lot of those 50s, 60s sitcoms. Like I have the entire collection, the complete series of I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, granted, obviously, neither one of us grew up watching those shows because we weren't born yet, but I used to love watching Nick and Night when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I was always watching I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched,
I Dream of Jeannie, that's the other one.
Mary Tyler Moore Show. I watched Dick Van Dyke, which especially the first episode is heavily inspired by.
Yeah.
They even had Dick Van Dyke on the set, which part of me is like, wow, this man is like really holding, like he's like in his late 90s. So I'm like, good for him and Betty White. They're like really holding on.
Holding it down.
Which I'm glad. Betty White, Cicely Tyson, they need to stay here to like they're like 1,000.
Yeah, they might make it another 50 years.
They need to.
But that reminds me, one of the things, like, so I'm like a very much like a deep lore person. Like I like the like nuanced language of things. So I'm always looking for the hidden meaning, the Easter eggs, like all that stuff. So I thought it was so funny when she said, "My husband and his indestructible head," because like we watched Thanos blow his motherfucking head up.
Pretty much. So it's not that indestructible.
It's not that indestructible. So I thought it was really funny.
But I guess for a plate, yeah.
These nods to like, and I can't remember what he said about her, but it was just as funny and just as much of like a nod to the movies. Flying Saucers.
Yeah.
Which was her. Remember when she picked up the things and threw them when they were fighting in Wakanda?
Yeah, Wakanda. And that's the thing. And that's the thing, like going back to what I was saying, like the thing that I really enjoyed about this, not just the mystery aspect of it, but I think the fact that they really dialed down to the sitcom element of the show and actually take it seriously. Now, granted, it's a little cheesy, but so were 50s, 60s sitcoms. They were very cheesy, but I'm still very much invested in not just the mystery, but also the sitcom element of it. Like the whole moments with like her and Vision both trying to figure out what this specific date means, and then finding out that it's a dinner date for their boss, and then I'm trying to figure out. I'm just like, are they gonna do it? So I'm like, But I saw a lot of people, they were like bored with that, and I'm like, what did y'all think this show was gonna be? Like from all the advertisement, they said this show is going to be a sitcom, an homage to all the sitcoms of the days of yore. So I'm like, so when we actually got that, and people are like, "Oh, this isn't what I want. I thought I was looking for more action or whatever." I'm like, but that's not what this show is. This is not Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited about it. I just I love that they're like, to me, I feel like them leaning into the sitcom aspect is like them not taking the MCU so serious, like. No offense to DC, but I feel like they're so earnest, right? Like they're so serious about all of their things. It's like all like super angsty, or to me it leans like angsty or cheesy. But I've watched a few of those shows, but I couldn't really get into them.
I mean, DC just needs to stick with the animated shows because
the animated movies are so good. We have to do a whole nother thing about that. But yeah, the live action doesn't work for me. But I think that. It was just so then the second episode was really strange too, because then you started to see the world come apart.
Well, I was gonna say, well, before we get to the second episode, let's keep focusing on the first episode first.
Okay.
But like there were a lot of Easter eggs also that they dropped that like I feel like this show more than a lot of the other shows in the MCU. I feel like if you really have not watched all of like the movies and stuff like that, there's gonna be a lot of stuff and a lot of gems that they drop in this property that you'll miss. And then hell, like even if you did watch all the stuff, like I had to rewatch this show like several times to be like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Okay, what did you notice on your second and third takes?
Okay, so when you mentioned the or not me, you the date, the January 23rd, that's actually an homage to like Avengers 123 or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a I'm not sure what happened in that book, but that's what that was. Then there's the commercials, like the first, I think the first commercial was the toaster. So
Yeah.
if you notice the toaster, like they talked about Stark Tech, and then the toaster started beeping, and while everything was in black and white, the toaster, the beeping, the red light, it was actually red.
Yeah.
And
it was super intense.
And it was very intense. So it basically signified a bomb, like the bomb going off. So if you remember from Age of Ultron, they said that because remember Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were the enemies of the Avengers at first. Mm-hmm. And it's because they had Stark Tech. There was a bomb that like crashed into their house, and it caused Vision and Scarlet Witch's parents to die. And then almost in a very Storm type of way, they were trapped in a underneath the rubble. Mm-hmm. And then there was still a bomb that was like flashing, and they were expecting it to go off at any moment until they got rescued, and it never went off. So I think that's what that is supposed to signify, like that trauma of the bomb, the blinking red light, from the bomb, and it being Stark Tech.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
as you can see, I'm in awe. Okay,
I hear the clicking coming through the headphones.
What? The clicking of what?
Are you typing something?
No.
Oh, I'm here. I hear like clicking. It's like sounds
I
like
hear it too, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was like, I thought they were typing something.
No, it's like I think it's the No, there's no clicking. Is it loud?
It was, yeah, but I mean, it stopped.
That's so weird. Okay. All right.
Oh no, I said 138. So no, I was wrong. It's I just looked it up. It's a nod to Avengers 238, which it says it's an important issue in that it sees Vision reactivated after an earlier adventure, which he was deactivated through passing through a magical field.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what that says.
I think it's interesting that they use those sparkles to signify the magic. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's very 1950. And that's the thing I really like about the show. They do a good job in interweaving the obvious special effects of the 50s time. Yeah. The 60s time. Like, when you watch Bewitched, you could obviously tell like when something's floating, it's on a string. Yeah, or she like teleports away. You can see that it's a cut in the screen. Yeah. So it's like they do that, but then at the same time, they also interweave the seamless MCU level of effects. Yeah. Like when she was using her powers to cook in the kitchen.
Yeah. I love that scene. That was so good.
Yeah, and
I really thought she was gonna do it too. I was really upset. I was really upset when she lost control, but that's just like Wanda to do so.
Yeah, and it's very sitcom-y too.
Yeah.
Like things not going like you think of I Love Lucy when she worked at the chocolate factory. Yeah. And at first things were going normal. She was wrapping everything pretty normal. Then everything's speed it up.
Yeah.
And she's like she's stuffing it in her shirt and all that. So that's kind of that's par for the course for this thing. And then another criticism when like going back to people talking about they thought it was slow, like, and then a lot of people felt like, oh, the first 2 episodes, nothing happened. I'm like, what did you guys watch? Did you not realize? And even because we're talking about the first episode, and even the first episode, like the questions of when they would ask about, well, where's their anniversary? Where did they come from? How did they get married? Yeah. And neither one of them had an answer. Yeah. That right there tells you that like something is strange.
Yes. Yeah,
like I said this in my non-spoiler review, but it's like Ghostbusters. There's something strange in the neighborhood. and then it also kind of makes you wonder, like, is Wanda actually the cause of everything that's happening? Because she doesn't even know what's going on. And there's moments that she snaps out of the world and she's like, wait, what is this? Yeah. And the same thing with Vision. I think that's part of why he was asking his boss and his coworker, like, what is the purpose of this? Why are we here? Do we make anything?
Yeah, what are we doing here? It was so weird. But it reminds me of like Wanda's history in the MCU is a little bit crazy. Like people just don't realize the level of power she has to
Yes, and
reshape reality from a magical perspective. And
yeah,
so
that kind of goes to this comment right here. If you can see it, the Black is Brian. How you doing? It's gonna something like Avengers Disassembled. I'm actually thinking. I mean, it's not gonna go completely like Avengers Disassembled, I don't think, or even House of M, because there are no mutants in this world. Have you read House of M?
have I read out House of M?
Yeah.
I couldn't get into the decimation of 16.9 million mutants, unfortunately. Like that was a lot. That was a lot. Wait, what was it? Was she responsible for 1 million? She's responsible for 1 million, but because the Genosha genocide was like 16 million mutants.
Yeah, it was 16. It was 16 million mutants.
And then House of M was 1. But
no, I think House of M was more. I think House of M was 97% of the mutants, and only 1 million were left, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
If I remember,
there were only 17 million total, or something like that. So I can't remember which one was the bigger extinction event, Wanda or
they mentioned it in the latest run of X-Men, and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember which one.
I have the book. I just read House of X and Power of X, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, awesome. but going to that, like with the comment, like I feel like this show specifically, and Elizabeth Olsen herself said this, was like, oh yeah, this show will really show her as coming into her powers as the Scarlet Witch. And you see it, like Scarlet Witch's power, she can warp reality, and we've never seen her do that in all the movies prior to this. Like in this, she's literally warping reality around her. She's summoning things out of thin air, like with her wedding rings. She's trying to cook food with the chicken. She accidentally overcooked it, and then she undercooked it, turned it back into eggs.
Yeah, that's a whole new level of power. At first, it was more telekinetic focus, movement types of things. And
yeah, it's definitely a whole new level behind it. So I'm like, all of these gems that this show is dropping, like, what are people talking about when they're like, oh, nothing's happening? I'm like, there's a lot of stuff happening if you actually pay attention. Like,
yeah.
Even if you just get outside the sitcom aspect, because I mean, if you're not, and I said this before, like if you're not a fan of sitcoms, then yeah, maybe you're not going to like this, or not sitcoms, because I mean, you could like Martin, but if you're not a fan of those Nick at Night sitcoms, yeah, you're not going to like
exactly.
You're not going to like WandaVision.
I mean, if you like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, you'll love this too. But
I haven't seen that.
It's not as witty as that, but it's not meant to be. But it's just like, I mean, I love the costuming. I love the set design. I love the coloring.
The score.
Yeah, you have to. It's brilliant. Like you just have to appreciate like the thoughtfulness of the creation because it is done well. It's just not an Avengers movie. Like it's not an Avengers movie. That's not what it's supposed to be, though. Like
it's not what it's supposed to be, and that's what I'm like. I don't understand that mentality. But yeah, getting more into the first episode. So there's rumors that the person that's playing the next door neighbor, Agnes, she's actually playing Agatha Harkness. And so if you think about the name, Agatha Harkness, and then her last name, Harkness, Agnes. So
wait, I thought her name was Diane.
No. Her name's not. Diane is who she called out.
Oh, right. Diane was the name she called out, which was very weird.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah, that was weird. I gotta figure out what that name means. Agnes, yes, the neighbor. Agatha Harkness. That was the one. Was that the one that was with the High Evolutionary?
No. Agatha Harkness is the person that actually trained Wanda more into how to use her magic.
Yes. I remember that. Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like, WandaVision is cute. I just need some badass battle scenes. Someone beat the crap out of someone, please. But that's not. I mean, I get it. I love action too. I always say the things I love in my fantasy are blood, sex, gore, and magic. But that's not what this show is. That's not what this show is.
I think it'll get into it. It's just the story is important. Like I think the buildup is important. Look, what we're seeing is the first show was a setup. it set up the reality. It set up the perfection of this world that is absolutely like not even believable in any way. So I found myself intrigued by waiting for it to crack. Like you're watching something that you know is not what it is. And so the game is like looking for the places where it doesn't keep consistency. That's why it's fun. It should be fun to watch. Like the red beep, I didn't even notice that. But I remember being on that scene like, what is about to happen right now? Because that's not the sound a toaster makes.
Yeah.
You know?
And they even when it powered up, it sounded like Iron Man's suit when he powered up.
Yeah. So it's really, to me, it's just very interesting. But, you know, that woman, Agnes, like you said, came out of nowhere, and she doesn't seem fazed by much. Like she just kind of is in there and with it. But again, we don't know who she really is or how she really shows up in the show. Later on, I thought the boss couple was really weird.
Uh-huh.
The boss couple was really, really weird.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that next.
Okay.
So real quick, let me do some housekeeping really quick. So I see we have 23 people in the live stream. Thank you guys and girls for joining me. If you can, please hit that like button and get those likes up. And let me say greetings to all the people I see in the chat really quick. I see you, Levon Giddings. I hope I said that right. Edge of Hell. Thank you for joining me. Jessica, hey, how you doing? Thank you for joining me as always. And Jolie Johnson, thanks for joining this live chat. Dawood Ingram, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for joining the live. Sebish2920, I see you. Thank you so much for being here. The blackest Brian, the blackest of all Brians, Wakanda forever. Thank you for joining me. Geeky Fresh Foster Jr., thank you for joining me. Gary, who else do I see in the chat? That's all that comments so far. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me in this chat. So once again, please get those likes up. And if you got anything that you want to contribute, why am I screaming? I just noticed that. I'm like, thank you for joining me in the chat.
Isn't that radio voice?
Yeah, that's definitely that radio voice. And Ramon Lewis, I see you. Thank you for joining. But yeah, if you guys have anything to contribute in the chat, just feel free to leave a conversation. It's not just a conversation between Jason and I. Otherwise, we just talk on the phone or talk on Instagram. This conversation is with you guys too. So yeah, let's make this what would they say in the 50s? A very hopping live stream. No, I don't think they would say that in the 50s, but yeah, whatever. Golly G Willikers chat. But yeah, getting to the end of episode 1. So yeah, once they finally got the dinner out, and the boss was asking like, so yeah, what's your story and everything like that, and they couldn't figure anything out. There's that clicking noise again. I don't know what that is.
Hold on a second. So it seems like that's my Try talking again.
Testing 1 2. Yeah, I still hear it.
1 second. Let me grab something.
Okay. All right. Well, while we're experiencing some technical difficulties, you guys tell me what is that? You tell me what you thought of these first 2 episodes of WandaVision. We're gonna get more into episode 2 in a moment. So, but yeah, like
okay. Is it gone? Is it gone or is it still there?
No, I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, I think it was either the clicking came from like the loading. Okay, sorry. We're back. We're back.
Okay.
So
after these commercials,
that part was really awkward. Bye, Jasmine, today. No, I'm kidding. I thought that like pause was so awkward. I mean, that was like 5 minutes of like no one doing or saying anything. It was so strange. And I was like, why can't they remember? I would have the same level of like anxiety as the boss. I was like, well, where'd you come from? Yeah.
And I feel like it starts as a sitcom, but there's some very dark elements peppered throughout, and it almost is very Twilight Zone-y. And also in some ways, just the aspect of this world not being real and we knowing this world not being real and them kind of figuring it out kind of sort of, it almost kind of reminds me of the Truman Show in a certain aspect. Obviously not fully, because you know the Truman Show, everybody knew it was fake except for Jim Carrey's character. And it seems like they kind of know, but then they like don't. And that goes for everybody. So yeah. So then once we get to the moment where the ball started choking and Wanda's just staring, like not doing anything, and Vision's looking like he wants to do something, but he can't. And so then he's like looking, and this is something I didn't catch, so I watched it afterward. But it's like he wants to do something, but he can't, and he's like looking to Wanda. He's like looking to Wanda, and he has this look on her face like, I can't do anything without your permission. And then like the wife, at first she's like talking to the husband, like pretending everything's wrong. She's like, oh, just stop it. Stop playing around. You're kidding. She's like, stop it. But then you see her almost like, if you remember Get Out with the maid, and she was like, no.
Yeah.
And then she started crying. No. And then she kept saying, stop it. And then you like saw the tears in her eyes, and she looked at Wanda and she was like, stop it. But she's still smiling because she's still in that sitcom world. And it's like all of this stuff is like very eerie. So again, I go back to like, I don't understand what people are watching when they're like, nothing happened in these first two episodes. So then finally, after Wanda paused for like what seemed like an hour, she finally she finally gave Vision permission to pull the food out of the boss's throat. And then despite that weirdness that happened, they snapped right back into the sitcom. And I was like, I was staring at the screen.
And they were like all of a sudden done.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is happening? I
was like, wait a minute. He's like, oh, we didn't look at the time. I was like, what are you talking about? You just almost died. And then like no mention of it.
And not even just that, you saw him use his powers. But yeah, I don't know.
Right. Like that was like, I guess if that didn't happen. That was so weird. That was so weird. But you know what? You just pointed out a bunch of things in that scene I didn't notice.
Well, like I said, I watched it like three or four times. So, and I'm also trying to watch what I say, because I got the screener, so I saw episodes 1, 2, and 3 a week ago. So I'm like trying not to say anything from episode 3, so I have a little bit more knowledge than everybody else.
Yeah, I need you to not do that.
Yeah, so I'm like, trying not to.
I need you to not.
Yeah, you guys will see episode 3 next week. But I will say, say episode 3 is my favorite. That's all I'll say so far.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so then when they,
I'm definitely with you on that.
But so then once everything was over, they finished the dinner, and they talked about how they were talking about, oh, we are an unusual couple. Bless you, salud, gesundheit, or gesundheit. I don't know.
Thank you.
But yeah, so
that was I'm now disturbed by what you just pointed out, because I didn't notice it before.
Yeah, you definitely have to go back. Like I said, there's a lot of like subtle hints that they drop throughout the show. And it's like for this, like you really have to pay attention for this type of show to really like get the mystery, and plus all the Easter eggs that they drop. And we'll get into more Easter eggs that they dropped in episode 2. So yeah, the episode ends where they basically like, yeah, we don't know what our anniversary is. We don't have a wedding song and all that other stuff. It goes right back to the sitcom element. And so they talk about, oh yeah, this first episode is going to be their anniversary, which is very appropriate because it's literally the first episode that we're getting with them. And then eventually it ends. But what you thought was an ending isn't an ending at all, because as they're panning out and zooming out, you see that somebody's actually watching WandaVision, the show, kind of like we're watching the show on the screen in what looks like to be a van. And you're just like, okay, again, what the fuck is going on? And then all of a sudden, not only do we get credits within the WandaVision show, we also get credits for the actual show itself. And you're just like I feel like for the first episode, like the first, like a good 7 minutes of the first episode was all credits. And so I was
first
just
7 minutes. Yeah, definitely.
The ending credits on the first episode were monstrous. Like they were like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, and
Because there's 2 sets of credits.
yeah, and I'm looking at something right now, and this is because it says the credits. Something I didn't notice. The credits at the end when it turned into the credits of the show when it turned into the I think it was the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually
background and stuff.
Say that again? No, not the red, not the end credits. I mean the credits of like the WandaVision show, the black and white stuff. Yeah. So like it was like a hexagon or octagon. That's part of the sword logo.
Mm.
And then I'm looking at it right now. There's a name that dropped. I think Abe Brown. It says Abe Brown. Abe Brown was he's possibly a member of SWORD because Abe Brown was also a graduate and one of Spider-Man's students in Spider-Man Homecoming who survived the snap. So that means he would be 5 years older. And so maybe he's a member of SWORD. So perhaps all those names that they mentioned, Abe Brown, Leonard Hopper, Pamela Brewster, they're probably all SWORD agents. So those aren't real credits. And that's something I was wondering.
Oh, okay.
So that was something I was wondering. I was like, are these real credits? So I actually Googled it. I was like, who's Abe Brown? And then I saw, oh, this is a person. This is an actual character in Spider-Man. And so all those names might be actually like members of SWORD. And then you get to the actual credits at the end of the show. And then it ends.
Wow. By the way, so, I'm giving you time because there is a lag.
So yeah, I know.
You talking.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know.
You're done before.
Yeah, I noticed that delay between us. Like a half a second delay.
Yeah. But I'm watching you talk, so I'm like, yes. I didn't know about Abe Brown. Okay, this is cool.
But real quick, Javon.
Yeah.
Saying I thought SWORD dealt with space. SWORD does deal with space in the comics. I'm not sure. And I mean, they kind of alluded that SWORD is going to deal with space. If you look at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, you saw Nick Fury setting up what I believe was going to be SWORD with the Skrulls. I'm assuming that's what he was doing. I could be, unless they prove me wrong. But I guess... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess because this is they think maybe it could be space related. That's why SWORD is dealing with it. And then also for the most part, even though we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they haven't really connected it that much to the MCU ever since the fall of Winter Soldier and stuff like that. So we never really seen S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU after the one time Nick Fury showed up at the end of Age of Ultron. So
yeah.
Maybe SWORD is dealing with both space and Earth, and there is no more S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. You make a good point.
I mean, that could be it. But in the comics, SWORD is supposed to deal with earthly-based threats, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is supposed to deal with earthly-based threats, and SWORD is supposed to deal with space threats. So... But yeah,
when you mentioned SWORD, you just reminded me of the House of X, Power of X, and that was like,
yeah, there's a new SWORD solo series. But yeah, I agree with you, Louise Brooks. Catherine Hahn is she is fantastic. She's definitely like chewing the scenery, and I love her character. I love her character, and I can't wait to see more of her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But yeah, I'm gonna give you time because I noticed that there is a delay between us.
Here, let me refresh really quick. Sorry about this.
Okay, all right.
Refresh.
So while we're getting that out the way to get rid of the delay, let's go through some of these comments before we get into episode 2. I know a friend of mine was like, it was all boring. And I was like, what show did you watch? And that's what I don't understand. And like I said, maybe it's just me. Like if you don't like 50, 60 sitcoms, then yeah, maybe it's not for you. And then go on to another comment that somebody else said, maybe they thought because this is MCU, they thought it was just going to be all action. and that's not what this show advertised itself to be. Is that better? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we're reset.
I was just going through the comments real quick before we get into episode 2. It feels like outside people are trying to get Wanda to snap out of it, and I think it will be fun for it to evolve. And yeah, I agree with that. So we'll get more into that for episode 2. But so yeah, I didn't watch all the Avengers movie, but I love this show. I'm a huge fan of the Twilight Zone and the Outer Limits, and I see those elements in the show most definitely. And let me see. I don't necessarily know. Well, yeah, yes, you do. Because I was gonna say I don't necessarily know if you have to watch all the Avengers movies, but yeah, yes, you do. Because those were the movies that Wanda and Vision. Those are the only movies Wanda and Vision showed up in. So, like, to get the nuances and the importance of their relationship, you would have had to see at least Age of Ultron, Civil War as well, Captain America: Civil War, and specifically Avengers Endgame,
and the one. What was the one before that?
Oh, Infinity War. Sorry,
Infinity War.
Not Endgame, because Vision wasn't in that, but Infinity War.
Okay, yeah. But Wanda was in Endgame.
Wanda was in Endgame. Why didn't Wanda save the boss herself? She got TK. Why did Vision have to do it? She was like, "That's your friend. You invited him. Save him yourself." And I don't know, because that's the weird thing. She can warp reality. She could have instantly got rid of that thing from his throat, or moved it out of his mouth. I don't know why she had Vision do it. Like, that's the strange mystery element of the show that keeps me I'm confused yet intrigued at the very same time.
Yeah. Did you feel like I felt like there was a little bit too much time between when he was questioning her and when he started choking for it to be causality. But if that was what
do you mean?
Because if she was uncomfortable with what was happening, the dynamic, because he was pretty aggressive, but there was a space between when he asked his last question, the last time he slammed the table, and when he started choking. So that's why I'm like, did she really, you know what I mean? She could have caused it, but they gave you enough time to think that she didn't cause it. You thought it was natural.
I was actually thinking that. Part of me, I was like, because he's so aggressive with her, did she actually make him choke? Is that why she was staring at him like that? Confused and not maybe she caused him to choke without actually causing, she caused it, but she didn't mean to. And she's staring, not knowing what's going on. And maybe Levon, answering your question, maybe that's why she didn't help him, because she was in shock.
Yeah.
That maybe she just accidentally caused this man to basically die or almost die.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot. There's a lot. I feel like in my opinion, to unpack in these first 2 episodes. But yeah, jumping into the second episode. So the thing about each episode would take place in a different decade of classic television. So this first episode was the 50s. Now the second episode is taking place in the 60s. So this is more Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie era. And you can even tell that with the opening theme song, with how they with the animation that they had.
Wait, I didn't realize they switched decades. What?
Oh, you didn't realize that?
No! Oh my God! I'm fucked up now. That's crazy.
You couldn't tell
what even crazier.
I was gonna say you couldn't tell with the theme song the difference. The first one was all WandaVision,
Oh yeah.
No. That's the second theme song. That's the second.
That was the second one. The second one was more like Bewitched or
it was more like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. Those were in the 60s.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So this first episode was more, the theme song was more like Dick Van Dyke. And they even had homages to the Dick Van Dyke set, the way the windows looked and all that all that stuff. And then even the layout of the living room, that was very Dick Van Dyke-esque.
Yeah.
And then you jump to this episode is very 60s with the opening animation, with how Bewitched opened and I Dream of Jeannie opened with animation. And then the theme song, WandaVision, WandaVision. That's what I thought of.
loving these moves right now.
Please, I didn't get that black stereotype gene with the dance. Like, you know, they say,
Oh no!
black
no!
black people can dance, not this one.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh! I have another friend who I make fun of who he just can't do it. He just can't get into it.
Just go to the club. I'll be like,
keep it right here.
Yeah.
Like in Hitch.
I'll maybe do like some paw like. That's all I got.
Oh my god, I love it.
But yeah, so this episode opens with them in the bed, and very reminiscent to, even though this is the 60s, very reminiscent to I Love Lucy days where they had the bed separated.
Yes, I love that.
Which was a thing in the 50s, because in television, you know, it was not illegal, but it was frowned upon to have, even if they were married, like you think of I Love Lucy, even though they're married, they can't sleep in the same bed together because God forbid it's implied that they're having sex.
God forbid. I know.
Which was so stupid. Like, which it's funny when you realize how much ground I Love Lucy broke. Like, she was the first woman to be pregnant on television. First woman.
Well, we won't get that far, but yes.
I was gonna say first woman to own her own studio and all that other stuff. And actually, we could thank I Love Lucy or Lucy for greenlighting Star Trek.
She did it. It was her.
Yeah, it was under the Desi Arnaz studio, which she oversaw.
Oh yeah.
And so for all you Star Trek fans,
cool.
Yeah, for all you Star Trek fans out there, you could thank Lucy for that.
Now you know what's up.
And so, the episode opened where they hear this banging happening in their house. And when they do some more investigation, it turns out it was just a tree.
Yeah.
Banging against their window.
So strange. There's no way a tree makes that noise.
No, I definitely think it was more than just that, because then you jump forward into the episode, and basically the premise of this episode is they're trying to fit in with the neighborhood. And so they have this annual magic show for the entire community. And so Wanda and Vision are coming up with their act not a magic show. It's a talent show for the community. And so they decided to do a magic show.
For the children.
Fake magic. Yeah, for the children, which I thought was so creepy.
I gotta know what that means.
I'm thinking that's alluding to her children. Because jumping forward, we'll double back to it. But jumping forward, you saw by the end of this episode, she becomes pregnant.
Which is so weird because they never even had sex. Well, they did, actually.
They've had sex. They've had sex before, but I mean, he's a robot.
Man, he's a robot. But I'm saying at the beginning of the episode, they had.
Yeah,
sex.
The beginning of the episode they had sex, and I'm pretty sure they've had sex before that. Like in the first episode after their honeymoon, like when they first moved into the house.
I don't believe that. I think they only had sex the time that they had sex.
No, I think they had sex.
I don't think anything happens when we're not watching.
and Paul Bettany did say that Vision does have a purple penis.
That's so ridiculous.
So they're definitely having sex. He just doesn't have sperm. So like he can't like literally get her pregnant, but she can warp reality. Like,
well, because they have twins.
They had twins in the comics.
In the comics, they had twins. Yeah.
So
I don't remember what happened to her kids. Who were her kids? Do you remember who her kids were?
Wiccan and Hulkling. Hold up. Let me
Oh yeah, Wiccan. Wiccan is so good.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I mean, I said Hulkling. Fuck. Hulkling is his husband. So
I remember Wiccan though. Wiccan's cool.
Hold on, let me share my screen. Screen share time. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah, it's loading.
So yeah, these two over here, Wiccan and Speed are her children. So you see this picture. This is her in embrace with her twins, with her twin boys. Mm-hmm. And so Wiccan, whose name is William Kaplan, most people call him Billy. He's the one in the red. He has Scarlet Witch's powers of chaos magic. And then the one with the white hair, Speed, whose name is Tommy, he has her brother's powers, Quicksilver, so he has super speed. And
so nobody got Vision's powers.
Nobody got Vision's powers.
Probably because Vision didn't. There's no Vision genes in them at all. They're just made of her. She just made them by herself.
Oh yeah, she made them by herself. So, and she modeled them after her brother, because she's a twin herself.
Yeah.
And
nothing natural about that birth.
No, not at all. And what was I going to say about? I forgot. Oh, and I remember. Oh, and Wiccan is one of the most prominent like gay superheroes in Marvel. And it turns out that Speed, it was revealed recently that Speed is actually bisexual. And so I'm
sure it was revealed.
But I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I don't want to speak, but I'm like, I know for a fact, more than likely Marvel's going to they're going to keep Wiccan gay, but they're more than likely going to make Speed completely heterosexual. They're not going to lean into the fact that he's bisexual and currently dating a male member of the X-Men right now.
Why would they go back, you think?
Because like, oh, we can't have two gay people. It's just kind of like with movies, like, oh, we can't have two black people in this property, even though they do have two black people in this show. We do meet them.
Oh, we do meet them. I'm curious to see what his role is, because he's very interesting.
Yeah, Mephisto made them, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly. Actually, the souls that Wanda used to create Billy and Tommy, they were actually fragments of Mephisto's soul. So I don't know the exact storyline, but some time ago in like Avengers lore, Mephisto's like fragments of his soul got separated from him, kind of like almost in a Voldemort type of way. And so because of that, she used her powers. She didn't intend to do this, but when she used her powers to manifest children, it took from Mephisto's fragmented souls. And then eventually, with the help of like Agatha Harkness and stuff like that, they erased her children from existence, gave those souls back to Mephisto, and then erased Wanda's memory of it. And all the other Avengers and stuff like that knew about it. And funny enough, the reason that House of M started is because Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, accidentally let it slip that Wanda had children. And she was like, and this is how Avengers Disassemble started. And she was like, wait, I had kid, like what? And then that sparked her memory. And she's like, wait a minute, I had children and all of you motherfuckers knew about it? And then
oh my God.
And then she snapped.
She snapped.
So I have a
Wait a minute. So the kids went away and they never came back.
I don't know. They're back now. So when she created the kids, they were just babies. So they never grew up into what we know now. So then fast forward, like, because this happened in like the 80s or whatever, that Wanda created these kids. And it was the run called Vision and Scarlet Witch. They had their own run in the comics. So this came out like 1985. And then fast forward to like 2004, 2005, I believe. That's when they created the Young Avengers comic books. And then it was revealed that those children were reincarnated. So even though Wanda is their mother, she's the one that created them. She's not their biological mother because they were reincarnated with different parents.
Oh, interesting.
And so even though Wiccan and Speed are twins, Wiccan has his own parents and Speed has his own parents.
Wow. That's
wild. But they're identical twins.
Yeah. That's so wild.
It's comics. Everything, they always got to make shit so fucking complicated.
So complicated. Okay, so now
I'm like, obviously
the backstory.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously for the show, they're gonna like less complicated, but
slightly, I'm sure. So they had sex in the beginning of the show, and then she's pregnant by the end of the show. Is what I took from it, and which is possible.
Wait, say that one more time. I missed what you were saying because my mother started calling me.
They had sex at the beginning of the show, and she was pregnant by the end, which is possible because of what she's doing, like how she's kind of like how things are just accelerating, just kind of happening out of nowhere. But going back to that big banging noise,
mm-hmm. Yes.
that happens, and then it's the tree,
Uh-huh.
and then she hears it again.
Yeah. And then when she hears it again, she goes outside and she notices there's this helicopter that lands in her bushes. And this helicopter is actually in colors like red. I think it's Iron Man colors. It's red and yellow.
Yeah.
And she's looking at it. And again, we're like, what the hell is going on? Where's this? And the more I thought about it, because I remember you asked me yesterday, you was like, what is that helicopter supposed to be? And I was like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, actually, the more I think about it, and then when you look at it again, I believe that helicopter has the sword logo on it. So my guess is that helicopter actually is a drone that sword tried to send in whatever world that they created, but once it got into this world, it turned into a toy. And so that's why it crashed. And so my guess is that banging noise is sword trying to get into this world. And then also, I'm thinking, going more deeply into it, because we jump in further into the episode, I'm thinking that banging noise is how Monica Rambeau got into this world.
Geraldine,
yeah.
are we supposed to know who that is right now?
Yeah, if you pay attention to news, like casting news, they announced that she's playing Monica Rambeau, so
okay.
Not like it's a spoiler. It's not like it's a spoiler.
No,
I mean,
no.
Well, I guess it's a spoiler if you don't pay attention to the news. But then, part of me is like, well, if you don't pay attention to the news, do you know who Monica Rambeau even is?
Let me look this up really quick. But I don't remember who Monica Rambeau is. But I know I'm supposed to.
She's arguably just as powerful or more powerful than Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and she's actually the first woman to wield the Captain Marvel logo in the 80s. Before they snatched it from the black woman and gave it to Carol Danvers.
Monica Rambeau. Okay, I'm excited about this. So they sent her in there, and then she became a normal person. Yeah, so then
she didn't know her name either because she made up that name on the spot.
Yeah, so that's the thing I was trying to say. Like, I think once they get into this world, they start to forget the real world. So I'm thinking that's why she called herself Geraldine, because she was like, because I saw some people say, "Oh no, she did that because she's undercover." I'm like, no, I think she did that because she forgot. And part of the reason I say that is because, again, I have more information.
Well, the Agnes thing too makes me think that, like, there's all these people in the world that don't remember where they came from.
Yeah, I think
they were in the world.
I think that's what it
Wanda.
is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, Geraldine, like, she forgot who she was, why she's there, or what, all that stuff. And so she just came up with the name Geraldine on the spot. And you could tell because, throwing it into jokes, she's in the 1960s. She's in the suburbs. I'm pretty sure this is probably before civil rights and all that other stuff. But even if it was after civil rights, Black people still weren't literally like living in these all white areas so quickly without anybody making a fuss. So like the whole moment when she's at this pool party or whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here." I'm like, "Yeah, girl, I don't know what you're doing here either with all these white people." Because if this was actually Bewitched and Najee Majidi, your ass would not be in this show.
Oh my God, that's so true. I didn't even think about that when she actually said, "I don't know what I'm doing here." Yeah. I didn't get. I mean, I instinctively knew, like, what is she doing there? But I thought that was like the collective, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Not like, I literally don't know what I'm doing here.
And that's the thing. Like, if you have to really pay attention to, like, all this stuff that the show drops. Like, obviously, like I mentioned, Monica doesn't know what's going on. And then before I get to that real quick, I have to give a shout out to Emma Caulfield was in this episode. She played Anya in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Are you a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan? If you say no.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. I was about to say, if you tell me no, I will kick you out of this live stream.
Where was Anya?
Anya was the lady that was in charge of the dinner party and the.
Oh my God, I loved her. She was such a good villain.
Yeah, she was the host of.
No.
I don't know if she was a villain. I don't know if she was a villain.
Anya was what's her name's girlfriend, right?
Oh, you meant
Willow's girlfriend?
Oh no, Anya was the no, that's Tara. Anya was Xander's girlfriend, the former Vengeance Demon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, damn, she's good. She is good. She was really good in this episode. I felt like she wasn't a villain, but I
No,
felt
she wasn't.
like
She wasn't a villain.
I'm curious who she is in real life because she was so intense the whole time.
Yeah, and then not only that, like jumping more into it, like the whole like she has this distrust of Wanda, and she literally says to her, like, I know about you and your husband, and I don't trust either one of y'all. So like there's something she knows something is like not right.
She knows something's not right, and then the radio starts to glitch, and it's someone's calling her name. I rewinded that part 3 times, so I was trying to hear what they said after they said Wanda. Who's doing this to you?
Yeah, they were saying, Wanda, who's doing this to you? And I was trying to figure out who that voice was. It sounded like Chris Evans to me, but I know
it sounded like Chris Evans to me.
But I'm like, I know it can't be because Captain America's like they're not including him right now. So I don't know who that voice was. But even before the radio came off, when Anya, because I can't think of the woman's name. Oh, Dottie. There we go.
Dottie.
No.
Dottie.
Yeah, is it Dottie? Yeah,
it was Dottie. Yeah.
When she confronted Wanda almost became very scary in the type of way where she was like, I promise you, we mean you guys no harm. And it's almost kind of like, bitch, if you don't drop this, I'm going to snap your ass out of existence.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
I just want to fit in. That kept coming up for me. Like, I just want to fit in. I just want to fit in.
Yeah, and even in the beginning of the episode, which actually reminds me, jump back to the beginning of the episode, and she was telling Vision when they're working on this magic trick, she's like really adamant. She's like, look, this is very important. This is our home. We're not leaving here, and we have to fit in. And like you could kind of hear the urgency in her voice. So in some ways, like again, going back to the first episode where it seemed like she doesn't know what's going on, but when you get to this episode, there's a lot of stuff that they drop that kind of makes it seem like she does know what's going on. But then at the same time, when you jump back to the radio and Jamie says that voice was Jimmy Woo. Okay, so we know, they did say Jimmy Woo from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is played by Randall Park. You saw, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ant-Man. You saw Ant-Man?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was
Jimmy Woo. Yeah.
The officer. Yeah, he was the cop. So so it makes me wonder, even with that radio, like when he's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you? So I'm like, so is Wanda actually doing this? Or are they just asking? Because I'm like, why ask who's doing this to you if she's the one that's doing it? But then at the same time, she's kind of controlling events. So maybe she didn't. So maybe she didn't cause it to happen. Maybe she didn't cause this to happen, but maybe now that she's here, she's manipulating it. Because I saw a lot of people, and even in the chat, talking about how Mephisto is going to be involved in this show.
Oh, wow.
Especially considering she gets her children from his souls. So maybe Mephisto is the one that put her in this world. But now that she's here, she's manipulating it. I don't know. That could be it too.
I'm so curious to see who the real villain is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who it is too. Like, it might the real villain might end up being Wanda herself.
I don't know. I wouldn't be down with that, but it could be. It's possible.
But yeah, so then after,
wait, the commercial is that where we are?
We're gonna get to commercial real quick, but then let's finish with the radio. So then after the radio thing happened, like she broke the glass, and you saw the blood was actually in color.
Yeah.
And then, like, right after that, she snapped back into the sitcom as if nothing happened.
Yeah, she told some weird joke about white linen, and I was like, "This is so bizarre."
Yeah,
but it was so good. It was so good. I was like, because I was just as shocked, and then I got calm when they got calm. Like when they didn't do anything about it, I kind of felt myself like de-escalate. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I feel like the way they interweave the sitcom and the mystery and the almost horror-esque Twilight Zone-y stuff in the show, it's so seamless and it's so brilliant. And not even just the writing of it, but the way the actors go from hi to who are you? That was terrible. That's why I'm not in WandaVision, but just the way they seemingly interweave through it. And I think Catherine Hahn is the one that does it the best.
Yeah.
That's why I love her, and I want to see more of her, and I really do hope she's Agatha Harkness. But it's just like, again, I don't understand how people look at the show and are bored.
Because I don't get it at all. I was hooked the whole time.
So it's like so much
I was
shit.
hooked the whole time, and people were texting you, and you were like sending me voice messages. I was like, I can't listen to that right now.
But yeah, so jumping into the commercial of this episode, what did you because I know you said you didn't watch it as many times as I did. So what did you
I saw the sword logo though.
Okay.
Sorry, I saw the Hydra logo though. I saw the Hydra logo on the watch.
Okay, so yeah, so that's what that. So based on these two episodes, and funny enough, I'm like, I don't even remember what the commercial was for episode 3. But of course, I'm not. Obviously, I won't say it. But based on what I can gather, I'm gonna assume and jump out on a limb. Since I said I don't remember the commercial from episode 3, but all the commercials are supposed to signify and represent Wanda's trauma. So you get to the
what was her running with Hydra?
So remember from Age of Ultron, the Strucker watch, that was the name of the commercial. Like, get your Strucker watch. Baron von Strucker was the person that experimented on her and her brother with the mind.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
That gave her her power.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, this is so good.
So these commercials are all, and I'm wondering if those two people that are playing, the people that are doing the commercials, I'm wondering if those are supposed to be her parents or represent her parents.
Is it the same people every time?
It's the same people every time.
Interesting.
So I wonder if there's, granted, maybe I'm gonna say her adopted parents, because now that Fox and Disney emerged and Disney now has the rights to the X-Men, they have to introduce Magneto at some point, and they have to make Magneto.
I feel like that is a stretch and a half. That is a whole ass stretch.
What do you mean? Like, what's the stretch?
For them to bring Magneto into it.
Well, no, I don't mean the show. I mean the MCU as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch. That's just me. That's just me. Like, but I hope Disney takes over X-Men and just does it right.
Well, Disney owns the rights to X-Men now. Marvel Studios, because they bought Fox.
Oh no, I know, but I'm saying I hope they actually take it and do it right and just like actually do it.
Oh yeah,
right.
I hope they do. I hope they do too. So I mean,
because a Disney X-Men would be like, oh my god, it could
so
be so
far.
good.
For the most part, and I mean, that can always come, but for the most part, the MCU has not disappointed yet. For the most part, granted, there are some duds like Iron Fist and Thor: The Dark World, stuff like that, but for the most part, they've been flying on cylinders. So I'm hoping once they finally do the X-Men, they cast a dark-skinned woman to actually play Storm.
Wow! Yeah.
Not somebody light skinned, and then they actually really do the X-Men justice.
They need to give Storm an afro in this one.
And the Blackest Brian, yeah, you're correct. Where they did retcon it, where they're not his children, but the reason that they retconned it was because Disney no longer owned the rights to the X-Men, and so what they were trying to do was push the Inhumans in the comics, so that once they make the Inhumans movie, more people would pay more attention to the Inhumans than they did the mutants. But nobody gives a fuck about the Inhumans, as you can see. Granted, and the show too was terrible. And so because they didn't have the rights and there was no connection, and they introduced Wanda and Scarlet Witch in the movies, but they couldn't have the connection to Magneto. They took them apart because they try to have the synergy between the comics and the movies, which I think is stupid. So because of that, that's why they retconned them to not be related anymore. But I feel like slowly but surely, they're actually bringing their relationship back in the comics. Because if you read like the current run of X-Men right now, like they talk about Scarlet Witch a lot in the X-Men books. And
are you reading Swords of X? Is that what's the current running?
X of Swords.
X of Swords, yeah.
But that's actually over. Yeah, now they're on to. Like that was
behind.
Yeah, that was an event that happened within the X-Men comics, and now they're moving. Like now they're just telling their stories, like after that event.
Got it. Okay.
And they mention Wanda a lot, so I'm like, that has to come into play.
I love Wanda so much. I hate that she's such an enemy of the mutants. Like I love her so much, and I'm like,
they call her the Great Pretender.
The Great Pretender, yeah.
Yeah, because she pretended, even though she didn't pretend, she didn't know. She pretended to be a mutant.
What do they consider her? Just a witch?
Yeah, right now. Yeah, now they just consider her a witch.
The Great Pretender.
But I'm like, and then also Hasbro came just last year or 2019. They came out with a Children of Magneto box or toy set with Magneto, Scarlet Witch, and Vision, and that was like years after they retconned the relationship. And so I'm like, oh no, they're definitely planning on bringing them back together.
Yeah, they will.
Why else would they come out with that toy line? And that was recently. But what was I about to say?
I love all of the. I just think about the nights like when I get on Wikipedia, I just read through all these people's like whole backstories and like read them through all of these different events. Like, oh, this is what I read a lot about Wanda. Like, this is what she did in House of M. This is what she did after. But yeah, I love it. I love it all. I'm learning so much.
And Jamie said, I have a strong feeling Hulkling will be working with Sword and be sent into Westview High School to get close to the twins. And that's how Billy and Teddy meet. That would actually be a pretty good idea and pretty cool, because I heard a rumor that Hulkling will be introduced through Sword because Monica Rambeau will be his like caretaker, and she's looking for a family to like house him and protect him, because he is half Kree and half Skrull, and he's royalty and the heir to he's heir to both thrones. And so both Kree and Skrull want him. And so to hide him away, at least that's his comic origin or whatever. And,
yeah.
and so to hide him away, she'll put him in like a family, and maybe that's how Billy and Teddy meet. That would be actually a good idea. And I'm actually hoping that we see that, because in the comics we never saw how they met, how they fell in love with each other, who found out, how did they find out each other was gay, who asked who on the first date. That's all the type of shit I want to see.
Right, exactly.
Because
they just were gay one day together.
Yeah. Basically, when you read the comics, it was like, oh yeah, these two are together, which I hated, because you got to see how Kate Bishop and Patriot fell in love. Like they met, they fell for each other. You got to see all that courtship. You got to see the courtship between Cassie Lang and Iron Lad, but then you got to see there was a love triangle between the young Vision and Cassie Lang. Like you got to see all the straight romance, but when it came to the gay romance, it was just like, oh yeah, these two are together. These two are together. You never saw them go on a date. They didn't even kiss until like 10 years after their introduction in the comics.
Wow. Just skate right over it. You literally just drop it in there just to have it.
But why can't I say that word? Stress-free kid. Wanda is actually the Scarlet Witch, not the Red Witch. And so after the getting back into the episode, so then after the commercial, we then get more into the actual magic show element of it. Oh, well, actually, before that, so Vision goes to hang out with the boys, you know, the other guys in the neighborhood. That's when we meet more of the other males, and there's this other male, this black male whose name is Herbert. And I'm assuming because of the Easter eggs and stuff like that they drop, Herbert is actually the first name of the High Evolutionary. Do you know who the High?
Yes. Yeah. We just talked about him. So that's what I was saying. Agatha Harkness and the High Evolution. So originally, wasn't the storyline that Magnus left the twins with Agatha Harkness and the High Evolutionary, and they experimented on them, and Agatha helped?
No, I believe Magnus. He didn't know that the person that he had sex with, Magda. If we're going with the original origin, where he's the father, he didn't know that she was pregnant.
Hold on a second, I'm looking this up.
And so again, another Easter egg. Jumping back, since we're getting into that, there's another Easter egg where if you look at the opening credits, I don't know if you remember the moment, the animation from the opening credits. You remember when Wanda was in the supermarket from the opening credits? Probably.
Yeah. And she moves the thing into the cart.
Yeah, right before she gets caught by Monica Rambeau's character. Well, if you look behind you, there's like a poster in the background that says Bova Milk. And Bova is actually like, she's like a mutant cow or whatever. And she's actually she's actually the one that nursed Wanda and Pietro when they were kids. And she was the maid. She actually helped get was the midwife. So she she actually helped give birth to Pietro and Wanda.
Yes, I remember
And so,
that.
so that's another Easter egg. So look,
so this is what it says. The experiments conducted by the High Evolutionary gave Wanda and Pietro their powers, but they were then returned to their parents so they're no longer mutants. So that's the storyline.
Oh yeah, that's the current origin.
That's the current origin. Okay.
Before the High Evolutionary raised them, but they were mutants.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, comics get, like I said, comics gets complicated for no fucking reason.
Yeah. Interesting.
Good. You see, just like that. Good. This is too much. Another point is Lorna. Is Lorna still even his daughter? Yes, Lorna is currently Magneto's only child, or is Magneto just completely?
But that was a crazy retcon too, because Lorna wasn't originally his daughter.
That I don't know. I don't know anything about. I thought Lorna was always his daughter.
I don't remember when it became announced. I mean, it's been years now, probably like 20 or 30 years. But I don't think she started out. I don't think she started out as his daughter.
Which I have all three. I don't know if you can see, but the green right here, that's Lorna, Wanda, Magneto, Pietro. And then down I have Wiccan and Hulkling. They don't have a speed action figure, which I think is trash. They need to come out with a speed action. Hell, they need to
that's funny.
They need to redo Wiccan and Hulkling too, because the way they made these figures suck. But yeah. So that's the origin of Wanda and stuff like that in the comic. The very convoluted origin of Wanda and Pietro in the comics. So Vision is at this house or this library or whatever, talking to his fellow neighbors, and they're basically, he's trying to figure out like the logistics of the town, like safety and all this other stuff, going back to how the episode opened with the banging.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so while they're talking to him, he ends up inhaling and accidentally swallowing some gum, which literally gums up his internal organs. And I like the 2D animation that they showed.
Yeah, that was so funny. That visual was amazing.
Yeah, like again, the show is like so brilliant with the way they introduced the like literal 50s and 60s elements into the show. And so because of that, he almost seemed like he was drunk. And so going back into the whole sitcom-y element of the show, he now has to perform a magic show with his wife while he's like inebriated, more or less.
Yeah.
And so because of that, he ends up actually using his real powers, which shocks the audience. But then Wanda like uses her powers to like offset it. And like, despite them still seeing it happen, it like snaps them back into the sitcom world. And then they still say this ominous word, for the children. And again, it makes me think it's definitely her children.
Yeah.
I think maybe Agatha Harkness, somebody said that like Agatha Harkness ultimately wants those children.
That was so interesting too, because I feel like we didn't see Agnes's reaction, but I got to watch it again. But when the guy said that was my grandmother's piano, I laughed so hard because I'm like, he said it so quietly. And she basically turned the piano into not a piano. And he knew it, but he didn't say anything.
I mean, on her part, it was clever. It was a clever way to mask Vision, Vision outing them, more or less.
I mean, absolutely. I love the first part where she was just like, she made the little crank show up. I thought that was hysterical because obviously that's how it would normally be.
And going back to a quick comment real quick by Levon Giddens. No children were at that talent show, and exactly that's what made it so fucking creepy.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that there were no kids anywhere in that whole episode. There was
nobody that like they talk about the high school and all, but yeah, there were no children at that talent show, and I think part of that is because I think these people are
my mom's here.
Who's your mother
watching?
Who's your mother? Edna Primrose. Oh, let me see.
She must have commented something because somebody just added her.
Let's highlight Mama Primrose's comment. Thank you for joining us, Mama Primrose. I'm loving this so much. You two have all the Marvel tea. You have to do this every week. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting your son. Because my mother's not watching this right now.
Well, I told my mom to watch it so we could talk about it today.
But to be fair to my mother, she don't know what the fuck. She tried to watch one of my YouTube videos. She was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I was like, yeah, I mean, I figured as much because you don't watch. I'm like, you don't watch this stuff.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, you and my mom can talk about it too. She's been watching cartoons with me since I was very young, so she knows all about it. She knows all about it. Okay, so there were no children.
There were no children.
We had the magic show going on. It was super weird. And so then they did so what happened? So they had the bunny who hopped away.
Yeah.
So the first thing, and then what was the card thing? The card thing. Was there anything significant there with the card trick? Not
in terms of like Easter eggs or anything like that. That was just him being drunk and fucking up the trick. And then again, he's using his powers in front of everybody, and nobody's like noticing anything.
He's going so fast, like no one said anything. And then with the big case, the big thing, I thought Wanda was gonna go into the.
Yeah,
I was wondering why Wanda didn't go into the thing.
She was supposed to go into it, but Vision closed it before she can go into it. That's why when he was like abracadabra and hit the box, she was like, Vision, I'm not in it. But he was so drunk, he's like, what? I don't get it. So that's what was supposed to happen. And so that's why when everybody was like, what's in the case or what's in the box, but she used her powers to like, and it's almost, they use like a kind of bewitched sound
of like this.
Where she went like this, and it was like and she made Monica show up in the box.
Who was like totally bewildered, but like went with it.
Yeah.
And she must just be so confused because all of a sudden she's playing a talent show.
Yeah, because I mean, she even asked, and granted, you could kind of see it was levels of realism in there too, because once they were taking their bow, she's like, I have a question. Like when I was backstage, suddenly I'm in this box. How did that happen? And they're like, we're not telling. And she kind of said, I thought you were going to say that. Like to me, it was like, that was her investigating, like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But also within this sitcom-esque world.
And then she like let it go. And she's like, I'm not saying anything either.
Yeah, like this show, like I'm telling you, this show has me so like even though I saw episode 3, I'm like ready for episode 3, like all fucking I'm ready for episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 9 episodes.
Are they really gonna do it once a week? I can't do this.
Yes, it's once a week, and every episode is a new decade. So next week is this Brady Bunch, the 70s, and then after that is the 80s, then the 90s, and then eventually they'll do reality TV when they get to today's time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So then once
that's so cool.
So then once real quick, now we have more people in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A little housekeeping real quick. We got 32 people in the chat joining us on this discussion for WandaVision. Thank you so much for joining us in this chat. If you could please hit that thumbs up and like button so you can let YouTube and the algorithm know you guys are enjoying this video and get maybe more people in this chat, even though we won't be here for that much longer. But still, YouTube pays attention to views, and I'm trying to get the views up so I can make this my career. Thank you guys so much for liking this conversation and liking this video. And if you want us to do more of these, best way you could tell me is hitting that like button. And if you're joining me on the replay, if you weren't here to catch the live, hit the like button, leave a comment below. There you go. That rhymed. Hey, ho, 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 ho.
All right, see, you got bars.
I got bars. I'm shooting for the stars. That was so corny. But yeah, so why is each episode only a half an hour? Because the whole sitcom, like I, Jim and Jeannie, Bewitched, I Love Lucy, all those shows are only a half an hour.
I know, I'm so mad about it. I didn't realize they were only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because most shows like that are 45, but this is good. It's good. Look, they're doing what they mean to do. That's 30 minutes. You don't know a lot. You keep watching. Only 9 episodes. Seriously, kill me right now. I'm going to be on pins and needles at the end of every season. Like, I can't already. This is why I don't watch television, because I get so invested and I'm like, and then I
definitely don't think there's going to be more than this. Like, I think WandaVision is one and done. I don't think there's going to be another season.
What?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh my God, kill me now. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. You think
Like,
it's just because it's just a bridge between the movies.
yeah, because
It's just a bridge between the next.
this show is supposed to connect with Doctor Strange, and Wanda's supposed to be in Doctor Strange.
Yes,
And then Doctor Strange is going to connect to Spider-Man.
And then when does Captain Marvel 2 come into play?
I don't think Captain Marvel 2 comes out until I don't fucking know.
And
I think next year Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to come out.
Captain Marvel 2, the Eternals, all that stuff.
Because I don't think they started filming yet.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Wow, I'm just like floored.
Can Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil move over to Disney now? I could definitely watch some more. I believe their contract with Netflix is either about to end or just ended. And so they have to wait for that to end before they can move it over. And then they have to also work out some logistics because DisneyPlus, like those shows are very rated R. And DisneyPlus doesn't really have any rated R content. So will it move to DisneyPlus or will it move to Hulu? I think it's going to move to DisneyPlus, but there's some logistics that they have to work out first.
I don't think Luke Cage is a good show, but I haven't watched Jessica Jones.
I've only seen the first.
And I heard Daredevil was good.
I've only seen the first season of Jessica Jones. I couldn't get. Well, no, I saw some of the second season. I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah.
First season is
I don't really know who she is like well enough to like be into it.
Well, in the comics, she's the wife of Luke Cage.
Oh. And they didn't connect those two.
Do you think we will see some Spectrum in this show? So. Honestly, I don't think Monica is, or maybe I think Monica won't get her powers. Maybe she'll get her powers at maybe like the end of this episode. But
the end of the season?
I mean, at the end of this, the end of this season. I think that's when we'll finally see her become Spectrum.
Yeah.
And then that'll tie into Captain Marvel too.
Yeah, I agree. And they're gonna make us wait all the way till the end.
Give Jessica Jones a chance. I did give Jessica Jones a chance. I said I watched the entire
whole season.
Yeah, I watched the entire first season. I loved the first season. I watched like half of the second season, and I was bored. And I was like, I can't. Like I'm done.
Did Jessica Jones and Luke Cage ever have crossover?
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage did have crossover. I believe Luke Cage was introduced in Jessica Jones.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. I might have to go back and watch those shows just to see. I tried watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I couldn't get into it. It was too much of like a second-rate heroes for me.
Well, how much of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did you watch?
I mean, I got to the part where Quake became like this big person, but like I didn't watch the whole season. I watched the early episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was like, I can't watch this.
Because I was gonna say I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I feel like every season.
I haven't watched any of those. The Gifted, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't.
Outside, I saw some of The Gifted. I didn't watch all of The Gifted, but I was like, I didn't like how unconnected they tried to make it with the movies. But yeah, outside of like the first season, I feel like every season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just got better and better. Like my favorite season is the fourth season, but season 5 and 6 I loved. I didn't see the last final season 7. I'm gonna watch that eventually. But yeah, I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, I'll give it a second chance. I go back and I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need it after WandaVision is gone forever. So I'll go back and get into it because I like to binge watch it. So it'll be better for me to just go back and watch them all.
Yeah, another comment I want. Luke Cage was more interesting to me than Black Lightning. I agree with that. Luke Cage had his problems, but I fell off of Black Lightning, which kind of makes me sad because I'm rooting for everybody black. But I was just like, after the second season, first season I enjoyed, but then the second season I watched like halfway through it, and I was just like, this isn't the same show anymore. Like I don't know what like.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't. I just can't.
Yeah, I can't. But going back to WandaVision, getting to the end of the episode, because we're like going off on a tangent. So after they, celebrated, they thought they botched the talent show, but it turns out she was like, nobody has ever been so hilarious or whatever. So the whole town loves them now. They're welcome into the town finally. So then they get home and they like breathe a sigh of relief, and they have a conversation.
Oh, this is the good part. Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is the good part. Okay.
So they get home, they breathe a sigh of relief, and they have a conversation of, because again, for the children, and they kiss, and then suddenly Wanda's like 3 months. What looks like she's like 3 months pregnant.
Yeah, at least, yeah. First
And
trimester done.
nobody questions it. Nobody's like, what the fuck? They're just like,
Is this really happening?
yeah, they're just like, is this
Yes,
really happening?
it's really
Yeah,
happening.
it's really happening. Oh my God. Okay, cool. We're having a baby, my baby and me. I guess again, I Love Lucy reference. And then all of a sudden they hear that banging again.
Yeah.
And so
Oh
then
my gosh.
they go outside, and again, this leads more into the horror. This leads more into the Twilight Zone-esque. We see a sewer, manhole opening in the town, and then all of a sudden you see this guy in like a bee outfit with bees surrounding him coming out of the sewer, and Vision looks more confused, but Wanda is looking like, oh hell no. And then
she just says no.
Oh yeah, but wait, hold on. But then when the guy like in a very creepy way, like turns his head and looks at her, and then she just says no, and she rewinds.
Says no.
Yeah, and she rewinds time. And I was just like, whoa.
That to me was like the clearest display of her reality altering. Because I think about when she said no more mutants, and then people just got depowered instantly. She just said no and undid the entire experience all the way back to the beginning again. I was like, what is happening? What is happening right now? Oh
that's what I said. I was like, what? First of all, who the fuck was that?
Yeah, because I don't know any beekeeper in the Marvel universe. That was already strange.
I mean, I don't know if that was an Easter egg to AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics. I don't know if you know who they are.
Oh yeah, because they have those. Oh
yeah, their outfit looks very, very beekeeper-ish, and they're called and they're called the Beekeepers of Hydra. Let me pull up their outfit for those in the chat that don't know who they are. Let me share my screen real quick. There we go. So this is what AIM looks like in the comics. So outside of the yellow, it almost kind of looked like that.
Yeah, it did.
So I don't know if that was an homage. I don't know if that was an homage to that. Because like I said, they're called beekeepers because of the way they look. And so it's very Hydra-esque, but then I'm also like, but who is that person? Is that somebody from Sword? Is that somebody from Shield? Like, who the fuck is that? And then it like that moment right there shows beyond a shadow of a doubt, Wanda knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And she's like, and going back to the beginning of the episode where she's like, this is our home, we're here, we're gonna fit in. So it shows that, yeah, she's manipulating events. Even again, going back when she's had that conversation with Dottie, and she's like, look, we mean you no harm. We're just here trying to live our lives. And so it makes me wonder, because remember, if you remember Avengers Infinity Game, what the hell? Avengers Infinity War, Vision is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So did she, just like she conjured her children, she conjured the fact that she's pregnant, did she conjure Vision in this world? And is Vision actually still dead? And she conjured him, and that's why he's asking all those questions, like, what did we hear? Why? What is this for? Why? Because he does still have a scientific computer brain, but at the same time, he was made out of nothing.
Yeah.
So
they kind of allude to that in the trailers.
Yeah, they do kind of allude to that in the trailer. But if you didn't see the trailer,
you didn't see the trailer. Yeah, so I'm curious. Like, I think Wanda didn't know it was. I think Wanda knows what's going on, but she still doesn't know how she got there.
Somebody said it's Sword. I mean, yeah, we mentioned, and then it's like, oh my God, y'all know it's Sword, right? We mentioned Sword a while ago in the chat, but is that specific person with the B outfit? Is that person from Sword?
Let me look up the Sword outfits.
Well, not I don't. Well, I don't know if, like, the Sword has outfits, but we know Monica Rambeau, who played Geraldine, she's a part of Sword, and we mentioned that earlier. I don't know if you were here, but is that person that came up with the bees? Is that person also part of Sword? Because Wanda looks like she kind of looked like she knew, like the way she said no, like she knew who that person was.
Yeah, she did,
but she didn't know who Monica. She didn't know who Monica Rambeau was.
Right. And she was like, no, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Essentially. No, this isn't supposed to be happening. No, this is not the reality I imagined. Just no. And so I wonder, I'm curious, like, what happened to that person? Like, then the whole rest of the episode finishes and the sound doesn't come back. Like, nothing happens, but something else does happen.
So yeah, she rewinds it. She rewinds time or whatever, and has that happy sitcom moment with the Vision again, where they talk about the pregnancy and stuff like that, and then they kiss, and then Vision, his face is in color now, and then all of a sudden the entire room and the entire living room and everything starts to shift into color, and eventually the episode ends. And I forgot what happened at the very end.
I don't remember either. But I know that the red color of her power was what was moving through the room as it turned into color.
But yeah, everything was turning into color, and then that's when you jump into the third episode where you get to the 70s aspect.
Which makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense that the color would come in there.
Yeah, of everything.
I mean, at the end of the episode, it zoomed out, and we get the television shot again. But I can't remember what happened at the end.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened at the end. But we know based on this end episode that Wanda's now pregnant. She's pregnant with the twins. She's pregnant with Billy and Tommy. William, his actual name, but people call him Billy. Billy and Tommy. So then that's the end of this second episode. So my question for you: are you still there? Because it looked like you froze.
Me? I'm frozen. I'm reading the ending of the.
Okay, yeah, no, you're not. You're not frozen.
No.
So my question for you is: what do you predict, or what do you expect to happen from here on out, like from third episode or just on?
I can't make any speculation. I'm just like along for the ride. I'm just so excited. I think the reality that they're in is going to continue to unravel. I'd be curious to know if Vision is really alive or if he's just a figment of her, like if she's just a figment of this world. And I'm excited to see how the questioning starts to happen. I don't know what it reminds me of, but just that, like, being taken out of reality. So like people being like, I don't understand what I'm doing here. And just like asking that more often, to the point where like there's these weird tense moments that I really like with Monica and Wanda, and with the husband, and like all that stuff, where there's like this like unnecessarily long silence when questions are asked and the answers are not, and people don't know the answers. Like there's no effort to fill the space. Everyone just kind of stops and like waits for someone to know, and no one knows. And then everyone kind of like snaps out of it. So I'm just like enjoying those moments. So I'm curious to see how those like continued stretches of time start to like unravel the reality of what we're seeing. And I'm just excited to see Wanda kind of lose her mind, because I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Oh, I like, you can kind of see based on these two episodes, the writing is on the wall that she's going to snap at a certain point. But get into this comment real quick. Isn't Mephisto the fishbowl head mystical dude? No, that is Spider-Man's villain, Mysterio.
Mysterio, yeah.
Yes,
Mysterio, yeah.
I'll show you what Mephisto looks like in the comics. Well, Mephisto is basically
like a demon.
Yeah, Mephisto is basically Marvel's version of the devil. He's like Marvel's Lucifer, basically. So
I'm reading this.
share the screen again. This right here is Mephisto, or one version of Mephisto, because every artist has a different interpretation of what he looks like. So yeah, there are different ways Mephisto looks in the comics. But the thing I don't know is, are they actually going to introduce Mephisto in this show? Because there's also a rumor that Mephisto is supposed to show up in Loki, in the Loki television show. He's supposed to be Loki's villain or whatever, more or less. So will they introduce Mephisto here and then he transfers over to Loki, or will they wait to introduce him in the Loki series? That I don't know, because you could kind of take this as a reference to Mephisto when in the beginning, back at the dinner table where or not the dinner table, the pool party of episode 2, where Agnes, Catherine Hahn's character, she's like, the devil's in the details, and that's not the only place he is. Is that a reference to?
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was good. That was really good.
Yeah, I'm like, is that a reference to Mephisto? Maybe it could be, maybe not. But there's a lot of maybes and maybe nots on this on the show. So I don't know.
I think the cool thing is that I guess by the end she'll have to have snapped out of whatever this reality is to prepare her for Doctor Strange. So I feel like that's what we're going toward. That's what we're moving toward.
What is that? I want to be Wiccan. I like to act, but I want to be on TV. I'm like, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I hate to bust your bubble. But I think they already. Why is Alexa talking right now? I didn't even say Alexa. Alexa, turn off. I'm like, I didn't even say the name. But yeah, like I believe Wiccan, because I mean, if they're going through the decades, I'm pretty sure we're going to see an adult or teenage version of Wiccan. So I'm assuming he's already cast. We just don't know who it is yet.
And they won't reveal it because they won't reveal. It'll be too big of a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they meant Wiccan in real life.
Because I'm like, we already know based on how this episode ends that she is pregnant. So we're going to see Wiccan and Speed, or Tommy and Billy. So I'm assuming they already have them cast.
Unless she undoes that too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me was like, what if this show ends where she has to choose between keeping Vision alive? Like, because I feel like with this show connecting to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and it dealing with the multiverse, I feel like whatever she's doing right now, her constantly warping reality and changing things and rewinding time and shit like that, yeah. I feel like that might be breaking reality, and it's causing ripple effects throughout the multiverse. And maybe that's why she has to that's her role in Doctor Strange. She has to help him fix everything.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because every time that rewind split the timeline.
And so I'm wondering if maybe at a certain point she has to choose between her husband and her kids. And that also causes her to snap.
That would be so intense.
And obviously, based on what we know she, like, if that ends up being the case, we know she's going to choose her kids because we know Young Avengers is coming. So
on screen, on film,
yeah, on screen. I mean, it has to, because we already got Kate Bishop. We already there's a rumor that Eli Bradley is going to be in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, because if you look at the actor, there's an actor, I can't think of his name, but if you go on his IMDb profile, it says Elijah Bradley, Patriot, on Falcon and Winter Soldier. They already cast Cassie Lang, who plays Stature. We got Miss America, who's also part of the Young Avengers. We got Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Granted, she's not on the Young Avengers, but she's still a young hero.
Okay.
So they have to be doing it. They have to be doing Young Avengers. Ironheart is coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to be doing Young Avengers.
So Wiccan and Tommy will be there.
So yeah, Wiccan. So all we need is Wiccan, Speed, and Hulkling.
Damn.
Young Avengers.
Oh my gosh.
And we already know, because I'm like, am I missing somebody? Yeah, Kang the Conqueror. We know Kang the Conqueror is played by Jonathan Majors, and a younger version of Kang the Conqueror.
Which is so cool.
Yeah,
cool. I love Jonathan.
and a younger version of Kang the Conqueror is the one that establishes the Young Avengers. So the writing is kind of on the wall for them to introduce an Iron Lad. But hold on.
This makes me so jealous.
I want to address this real quick. I have the first super chat. Thank you so much for this $5 super chat from Dr. Day or Dre Day. I can't read.
Dre Day.
Who is Catherine Hahn's husband in the show, and would we ever see him? Yeah, they do keep mentioning this mysterious husband, Roger. And yeah, I think that's his name, Roger.
I thought his name was Ralph.
Or maybe it is Ralph. I don't know. It starts with an R, but for all we know, his husband could be Mephisto, or her husband could be Mephisto, or it could be like a reference to the High Evolution.
Yeah, his name is Ralph.
Ralph? Okay.
No, because the High Evolutionary is Herbert.
Oh yeah, the High Evolutionary is Herbert. Yeah, never mind. So I don't know if we're gonna see it. Maybe the husband is Mephisto, or maybe it's just gonna be a running gag where she talks about the husband and we never see him. Maybe that's part of the sitcom element of the show.
Oh my god, I'm like reading all these spoilers now.
That could be it. I mean, is it spoilers if it aired already?
No. I'm reading. But it's interesting because all these people follow her through all the decades and don't age.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's because I don't know the timeline of it, but I'm like, the show is going through sitcom decades, but I don't know what the actual timeline of the show is.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is so fascinating. I'm like really mad that I have to wait every week to watch this.
So yeah, I mean, gotta wait till.
I love it.
And that's something I meant to bring up. Thank you, Jamie, for bringing that up, because I'm like, I should have took notes, but I put it in my head. I was like, don't forget to bring this up. Don't forget to bring this up. So yeah, Agnes and her husband's anniversary is the day of the Salem witch trials. The day the Salem witch trials started, she definitely sold her soul to Mephisto for immortality. So yeah, that's the thing. So that going back to Mephisto. So she mentions in the first episode where they're trying to figure out what day is January 23rd? What is that supposed to represent? And she's like, is that an anniversary or whatever? She's like, oh yeah, we're celebrating. And she's like, oh yeah, my husband Ralph, the only way he would remember our anniversary of June 2nd is if there was a beer or something like that. And that's another Easter egg. Well, yeah, going back to her being Agatha Harkness, June 2nd, 1692 is the actual day the Salem witch trials kicked off. And so I'm like, that definitely couldn't be a coincidence.
Not at all. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So yeah, that's another Easter egg that they dropped on the show. Thank you so much, Jamie, for reminding me of that. Somebody else said Craig Robinson would be on. I think he would be Ralph. Who the hell is Craig Robinson? Let me look that up. Craig Robinson? I see a black football player, but I don't think that's it. Craig Robinson, actor. Oh, okay. I remember him from the. Oh, yeah, I know who that is, and I remember him from the trailers. Yeah, maybe he will be Ralph. So
wow.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that this episode like drops in these first two episodes, and it's like so fucking great. Like I cannot wait for next week. Like I cannot wait for y'all. I can't wait for y'all to see episode 3, because there's if y'all thought there were a lot of gems in the first 2 episodes, there's a lot of gems drop and a lot of like intrigue into the mystery. Like it really gets, because remember, there's only 8 episodes. So once you get to episode 3, you're almost at the halfway point for the season to be done. So there's a lot of shit that they show and drop that happens in episode 3. Like as I was watching it, because I was watching on my laptop, and I literally had to say to myself, and again, I'm not going to give spoilers or whatever, so nobody like, oh, spoilers, la, la, la. I'm not going to give spoilers. I'm good for not giving spoilers. Clearly, I do this for a living, so I'm good with not dropping spoilers. But, like, there was a moment in episode 3 where I was just like, I literally paused the screen and I started screaming. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Let me stop begging for that everybody's ears. But I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down.
Oh my God, I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna be texting you the whole time. I'm gonna be like, ah!
But and I was like, oh my God. And like then I was like, okay, finish watch. Calm the fuck down.
I'm just gonna play it over and over and over again. I'm just gonna play that scene over and over again. I can't wait till 6. I'm gonna be like trying to guess which one it was, like when you stopped. But I'll probably know immediately.
But yeah, so I'm ready for y'all to see episode 3. But yeah, that's the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. I'm so fucking excited about this show. It did not disappoint. I love every second of it. Fuck all those people that thought it was boring. That's
say that. Do not say that.
I mean, but I still say it. I mean, if you found it boring, that's on you. Like, everything is subjective. There are things that other people like that I don't. Like, a lot of people love Star Trek. I'm not really I can't really get into it. So, you know, everything is subjective when it comes to art. Like, my opinion is no more valid or no more worthy or no more right than anybody else's opinion. Like, it's all subjective. Everything hits everybody differently.
Yeah,
so
yeah, definitely.
If there are people,
but if you think it's boring, look inside yourself.
But yeah, I mean, if there are people that didn't like it, I mean, sucks for you. But I'm gonna have something to watch for the next, 7 weeks, and I'm gonna enjoy myself. So hopefully you find for those that didn't like it, hopefully you find something else that you can enjoy if you didn't enjoy this.
And sips tea.
Who the fuck thought it was boring? Oh yeah, I don't know if you were here, Flavia. Did I say that right? Azevedo. Me and Jason had a conversation, or is it Jason and I had a conversation earlier in the episode that I saw. Granted, Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. Overall, there are a lot of very positive reviews, but I've been seeing a lot of people online on my Facebook page, even on. I was watching another YouTuber's review and stuff like that, and looking through the comment section, and there were a lot of people saying that they thought the first 2 episodes were boring. Which I'm just like, and they were also saying not only was it boring, they thought they were like, oh, nothing happened. I was like, what?
So much happened.
What the hell do you mean nothing happened? So much happened in these first 2 episodes. Like, what do you mean? Why is my phone keeps ringing? Like, my mother keeps calling me. Obviously, if I'm not answering the phone, I can't. That means I can't answer the phone. And she's like right upstairs. She could just like come downstairs and be like, hey.
She's probably like, you're loud. No, I'm kidding.
No, because I'm like, I know it's not an emergency, because if it was an emergency, she would have just come right downstairs. So, but yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, about the people that found it boring. I'm like, so much happened during these first 2 episodes. You just have to know what to look for. And then again, going back to the sitcom thing. Yeah, if you're not a fan of sitcoms, you probably won't be a fan of this, because, and then not even just that, but like, I feel like if you're an MCU fan, strictly an MCU fan, maybe this show won't necessarily be for you, because I feel like this show is not the MCU. I mean, it takes place in the MCU, and it has MCU characters, but it's not the MCU, more or less. You're not going to get you're not going to get the action scenes that you get in a lot of superhero properties and stuff like that. But at the same time, this show
that's not necessarily true all the way through, but I think that you have to have a level of appreciation for like television to appreciate this show.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, I feel like not even just that, but I feel like this show didn't advertise itself to be a typical MCU show from the very beginning. And then even if you look at the trailers, but all the interviews that you've seen or that they've talked about before or whatever, they've mentioned plenty of times that this show is going to be unlike anything that we've ever done in the MCU before. So when people watch the show and they're like, oh, this is different. Yeah, they said that.
Yeah. I didn't expect the laugh track though. I thought that was I didn't expect the laugh track.
Well, funny enough, I found out later on, because I thought it was a laugh track too, but I found out later on that it wasn't actually a laugh track. They actually filmed in front of a live audience.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I was
They
like,
must
oh,
have cued them to laugh.
oh yeah, of course.
Cued them to laugh.
I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure they cued them to laugh because there were certain
Yeah.
jokes. There are certain jokes where it's like, oh, that's why the refrigerator's empty. Ha 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 ha. I'm like, granted, I smiled, but I'm like, I don't know if that was a bust.
Right. Exactly. That was
Bust.
such a strange episode. I was like, what's she even doing? Like, she was like cleaning, and then the fridge was empty, and then he doesn't eat food but keeps inviting people to dinner, and like it's funny. It's really funny. I'm excited.
I enjoyed it, but I just wanted some bloodshed. I mean, you got some bloodshed with the cut that happened on Dottie's hand. That was blood.
In the beginning. Yeah, they're building it up, you know. I think we're so used to the now. This is why my book is going to be one of those. And
that's the thing. Like, they set the show up to be a mystery. Like, they're not going to give everything. It's only been 2 episodes.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give it some time. And they're basically teasing you with all the things that are coming, but they won't give it to you outright.
Yeah, like I said,
I mean, the B-Man showing up was enough. I think that was
like I said, even in these 2 episodes, they dropped a lot of stuff that shows like, yeah, there's a mystery that's going to be slowly unfolding. Like, not everything's going to be revealed. And so, I'm sorry, we waited so long. I expected a cameo from Doctor Strange in the beginning or something, but I loved it. I mean, but they never reported it to be like, this show takes place, like I said, it's in the MCU, but it's not. So this, like, I don't think we're going to see any cameos in this show because aside from Monica Rambeau, and her playing Wanda, so they're the only cameos that are going to be here, like Monica Rambeau. We're going to see Jimmy Woo, Randall Park's character, and then also what's her face, Kat Dennings from the Thor movies. Are going to be in the movie, are going to be in this show, I believe. But in terms of like Falcon, Winter Soldier, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, like they're not going to show up in this. Like, and I wasn't expecting them to.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't expecting the show to have, like, if you want the action and bloodshed and stuff like that, you have to wait for Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's the typical MCU formula you're going to get with that show. But this show, again, it's not the typical MCU formula. Like they said it wasn't going to be. And again, with the whole sitcom aesthetic, like they said it was going to follow. They said it was going to follow 50, 60, 70 sitcoms, and like there's no like blood and there's no blood in the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, it's not going to be like that at all.
But then they pepper in the mystery and the horror elements with the Twilight Zone in it, where Dottie cut herself. You saw the blood or like the blinking light to flash the time bomb. So, but there's not. But I don't think there's going to be any action in the show. Like you're not going to see Scarlet Witch and Vision using their powers to take out Ultron droids. I don't think you're going to get that at all.
No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna disagree with you, and we'll see where we net out at the end of the show. I'm excited to see.
What about action?
About the level of action, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think the action is going to be like Sword trying to maybe get into this world and like dismantle it. I think that's the action, but I don't think it's going to be like Avengers, Infinity War.
I'm just saying I don't agree. That's it. I'm just saying I don't agree. I don't know what's going to happen. So I just wanted to be on the opposite end, so at the end of the season we could see who was right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that Marvel is beginning to kind of explore a bit of other genres. This show is so smart, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Very smart.
What the fuck filmed in front of a live audience, and they managed to keep all this under wraps. Yeah, they filmed in front of a live audience. At least I think for the first episode. I think the second episode was a laugh track.
The first episode would make sense.
Yeah, because it's more Dick Van Dyke, and and it's the 50s. So in the 50s, they did film more in front of a live studio. Like if you look at the behind the scenes of I Love Lucy and stuff like that, it was all in front of a live studio audience. And I Love Lucy was the 50s, but I think once you get into like Bewitched and stuff like that, I think it was a laugh track.
Yes, I love it.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. They have confirmed there's a ton of action in episode 7 through 9. Okay, so there you go. It says we've seen some action shots too. I didn't see any action shots, but there you go. So there is going to be action in episode 7 through 9.
They gotta close it out with something big. It's gonna be big. I know it's gonna be big. It
I know,
reminds me of Umbrella
I knew it was going to
Academy.
be big, but I didn't think it was going to be like explosions and all that stuff big. I thought it was going to be like the unraveling of the mystery big.
But this the unraveling of the world into the reality, the chaos that is. So I feel like it will end up being very. Yeah. Oh shit! My AirPods just died.
What happened?
I am going to grab lunch. I'm so hungry. I need to eat.
Well, yeah, we're pretty much almost done for the most part. I mean, if you can go, but I'll take a couple because there's a couple more live chats I didn't get to, so I'll get through those and then I'll end it.
Yes, well,
I'm starting to get hungry myself because I haven't eaten. I mean, I had oatmeal earlier earlier before I woke up, but now I'm like starting to get hungry again.
Maybe that's why your mom's calling you.
Yeah, she just texted me like, "Can you go pick me up some food? I'm cleaning up." I'm like, I'm live on YouTube right now. I can't leave.
I love it. Postmates. Well, thank you for having me. I feel like I'm down to talk on Sunday next week if you want to talk about episode 3. You let me know. I know you already saw it.
Yeah, I already saw it, so that's a little flex. But I'll let you know because maybe I think I could probably have 3 of y'all on, but I believe Fantastic. Fantastic Frankie, right?
Oh my God, yes.
She wants to go live with me on Monday to talk about episode 3.
Okay.
So
you mean tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. No, episode 3 is not out till next week.
Oh,
so
next Monday.
Next Monday. So
yeah.
Maybe next Monday I'll just have the 3 of you guys on.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And then we could talk about
with her.
Yeah, we could talk about episode 3 on Monday of next week. So if you guys hear that in the chat, I believe I don't know what time yet, but I plan on, unless things change, I plan on going live again to talk about all spoilers, episode 3 with Fantastic Frankie, and I guess Jason will join us too. So all 3 of us will be talking about about WandaVision. You okay? What happened?
Again. All right, I'm gonna hop off.
Okay, all right. Take care. I enjoyed having this conversation. Yeah, I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
All right, take care. Enjoy your food.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye. So, all right, guys, it's just you and I. It's just you and I now. So, yeah, let me go through some of these comments that I missed, and then we'll close out for the day. Thank you guys again for joining us. Now me. Let me see. There was a comment that I saw that I missed. Will Netflix Daredevil be in Spider-Man 3 and She-Hulk series? There's actually a rumor. There's nothing confirmed, but it said that Charlie Cox just wrapped filming for Spider-Man 3. So if that turns out to be true, it was from comicbook.com. And for the most part, when they post something, it's usually, I don't want to say usually accurate because they're not as accurate as like if it comes from Variety, Hollywood Reporter, or Deadline, then you could take it like as fact. Because for the most part, like if they print something, it is 100% proven. Every like once in a blue moon, they turn out to be wrong. But these other sites, they'll like read a rumor from somebody else and then they'll print like breaking news, such and such happened. And it's like, no, it's not true. But for the most part, they try not to do that. And yeah, it did say that Charlie Cox wrapped filming for Spider-Man 3. So if that is to be believed, he would definitely be showing up in Spider-Man 3. As far as She-Hulk, I mean, it would make sense because they're both lawyers. So we'll see. I mean, if that's the name she's using, she could. Oh, going back to Spectrum. Oh no, I definitely think she's going to use Spectrum because if you remember the Captain Marvel movie, her mother went by the name Photon. She had like Photon on the jet that she was flying. She was known as Photon. So I'm pretty sure she's going to go by Spectrum because that's her current name in the comics. So I doubt they're even going to use Pulsar. More comments. Let's see. Season 4, no. Yeah, season 4 through 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are top tier MCU. I agree. Like, granted, I haven't seen season 7 yet, but I love season 4. Granted, I will say I was a little disappointed that they didn't really delve more into the magical lore of Ghost Rider and they kind of scienced his explanation up. I was just a little disappointed at that because I'm like, Ghost Rider is a magical character. Like, why do they got to explain it through science? So that's the only thing I was disappointed in. But yeah, once they got to like the framework and stuff like that, I loved season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I completely agree with this. I don't know why they did a Black Lightning and not a Static Shock film, Batman Beyond style. Like, what the fuck? Who cares about Black Lightning? I completely agree with that. Like, Static Shock, I believe, is a much more recognizable and a much more popular character. Like, if anything, I think what they should have done is take out Cyborg from the Justice League movie, put in Black Lightning as their, you know, they always got to have a token black member. So put in Black Lightning as the member of the Justice League, and then keep Cyborg with the Teen Titans, and then do a Static show, and hopefully a Static movie. Like, I would love to see a Static movie. BlackGayComicGeek, I watched your other vid on Wiccan and Hulkling. Thank you so much for watching it. But yeah, if you watch that other video, you know I've been calling for years in the MCU. The moment they introduced Vision and Scarlet Witch, I was like, can we please get Wiccan and Speed? Can we please get Wiccan and Speed? Can we please get Wiccan and Speed? And then when they introduced the Kree and the Skrull, I was like, oh, y'all motherfuckers better give me Hulkling. And then give me Wiccan and Hulk. Like, if you do not give me Wiccan and Hulkling, I will go to Marvel Studios and burn that bitch to the ground. And it looks like they're finally, like, they've been planting the seeds that, like, we're finally going to get, at least we know we're going to get Wiccan and Speed. Because obviously, you know, from based on the end of this episode, we see that Wanda is pregnant and she has twins. So we know we're going to get Wiccan and Speed. So they have to give us Hulkling at a certain point. And then eventually, hopefully, they give us mutants. And then we get Prodigy. And then we got Wiccan dating Hulkling. And we got Prodigy and Speed dating each other. But more than likely, they're gonna straight wash Speed. They're not gonna give Wanda 2 LGBTQ children. So they're gonna put more than likely, because in the comics, Speed was dating in a relationship with Hawkeye at a certain point. So more than likely, that's gonna happen. But stress-free K. Wanda, based on what it seems like, it does seem like Wanda created this entire thing. Or if Mephisto is in this universe, maybe she made a deal with Mephisto and Mephisto created this entire universe. And maybe that's why, like, there's gaps in her memory of, like, why she doesn't remember where Vision came from or their anniversary or how she even came to this world or anything like that. So maybe Mephisto created this universe, but now she's manipulating it with her reality warping powers. So that could be it. I think she conjured him. I think he still did. I think that might be the case too, but I don't think even after this, even once this is said and done, I think we're not going to be done with Vision. Like, if it turns out that she did conjure him, because I mean, he's a robot and he's an android and he's died a lot of times in the comics and they just rebuilt him. So like you saw at the end of Avengers Endgame, where he like had the Infinity Stone ripped out of his head, his body was still intact and he turned gray. It's comic accurate. Like, there's a moment in the comics where he's known as White Vision because his body, like, he's devoid of all emotion and stuff like that. And so he's literally all white. And so I thought they were going to go that route. And like, I thought Shuri was going to rebuild him for Avengers Endgame, but then that ended up not being the case because Shuri got snapped away and then they didn't do Vision. And then I thought the next time we were going to see Vision, he was going to be all white. But I mean, that still can happen. So who knows? Everyone should. Wait, what is this? Yeah, I hope Vision sticks around. He's such a good character. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, hopefully, yeah, he does stick around after after WandaVision is over. Because I don't think, based on what I'm gathering, I don't think WandaVision is going to have a second season. Because I'm just like, what else would you do? Especially once it's revealed that this sitcom world isn't real. I doubt they want to like go back to that. But they could give us instead of WandaVision, they could give us like Wiccan and Speed or the Young Avengers TV show. Give me that. Hopefully we get a showcase of powerful Black characters on this scale. I agree. I mean, we have Monica Rambeau, and like I said, she's one of the most powerful characters in comics, somebody that doesn't get as much play in comics as I think she should. And she was like the leader of the Avengers at one point. She should be the leader of the Avengers again. She's arguably just as powerful, or if not more powerful, than Carol Danvers. And she doesn't get used as much, which I think sucks. So I'm glad that they're actually having her show up in the MCU was something I never thought would happen. And hopefully they don't downplay her powers, because they do have a tendency in the movies to downplay a lot of characters' powers. Like Hulk is way stronger in the comics than he's been portrayed in the movies. Doctor Strange is way more powerful in the comics than he is in the movies. Thor is way more powerful in the comics than he is in the movies. The only persons whose powers that they haven't downplayed is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. But it doesn't work because they kept her powers, because they downplayed everybody else in the movies in terms of their power scale, but then they kept Captain Marvel's powers in the comics, and it's like the power scaling is off. She's so fucking powerful. It's like, who's really going to be a threat to her? Like, even if you remember from Avengers Endgame, she like instantly, if like she was about to beat Thanos' ass by herself. And it's like she's way too powerful. She's way too powerful in the movie. Like, if you're gonna make her that powerful, make everybody else just as powerful. Make Thor on her, like Thor, Hulk, all of them on her level. Vision is. I think Vision is. Yeah, okay. I think Vision is dead. Vision does not act like that. I think the way he acts. I think he acts the way he does and doesn't remember everything because she made him, and he knows only what she knows. I agree with that. And I think, going back to what I said in the beginning, I think that's why, if you look at the first episode, when that man was choking, if you go back and rewatch it, you see Vision, like, he looks like he wants to help him, but it's like he can't move. And he's like looking for Wanda for almost permission to move. And so once Wanda finally says Vision help him, that's when he finally jumps into action to help that man from choking. But had Wanda not given him permission, I don't think he would have done anything. So I do think that's probably it. Like, Wanda did create him out of thin air. She warped reality to create him. And I think that's what's breaking reality as well, and why this show will ultimately connect to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because all the shit Wanda's doing is literally breaking reality. Bring Mephisto into Doctor Strange too. I mean, I would like to see that, but I think they said the villain of Doctor Strange 2 is going to be Nightmare, unless that changed. That was at least when Scott Derrickson was directing Doctor Strange 2, but he's no longer directing Doctor Strange 2, so it might not be Mephisto anymore. But yeah, there's rumors that Mephisto is going to be the villain in Loki, which is another series that I'm excited to see. I have some great theories. Well, yeah, leave your theories in the comments. I might not get to them, but I'll definitely read them. And I think I'm starting to wind down on the comments for the show. If they go by the comics, the babies had no powers before they came back as teenagers. That is correct. But like I said, I saw episode 3, so I'm not going to comment on it. I'm not going to. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned for episode 3. You'll see some stuff. I know, but it hasn't been confirmed that they're going with the comic route. They just keep them her biological kids the whole time. I mean, Hopefully they don't go the comic route, because the comic origin of Wiccan and Hulkling is way too fucking convoluted and complicated and stuff like that. So hopefully they don't go the route of, oh, these are the souls of Mephisto. They erase the kids from existence and then they come back reincarnated with completely different parents. Because like Billy's last name is Kaplan, because he was born, his parents' last name are Kaplan, and he was born of 2 Jewish parents. And then Tommy's last name is Shepherd, and he was born of 2 parents with their last name is Shepherd. And even though they're the children of Scarlet Witch, they're not, because they were born by 2 other biological parents. Like, all of that shit is complicated. Hopefully they don't go that route, and then they just say these are Wanda's kids that she created through magic, and these are also Vision's kids. Boom, bam. That's their origin. And not all that extra nonsense, because comics always have to be complicated for no reason. I don't get how people find it boring. Maybe because it's a bit intellectual. There's an underlying mystery. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. I don't want to say maybe because it's a bit intellectual, because I don't know if that's implying that people are dumb, even though a lot of people are dumb. But I think maybe part of it is because, like, especially if the casual MCU fans, like, they're like, oh, it's another MCU property. I want to see they're expecting another typical MCU superhero property, but that's not what this show advertised itself to be. So maybe that's what the complaints are for. Like, they thought it was just going to be another superhero show. They thought it was going to be Arrow or The Flash or Doom Patrol, which are all superhero shows. And again, this show is not that. It just has 2 superpowered beings in it, but it's not a superhero show. WandaVision needs an official after show, and maybe they could hire BlackGayComicGeek. Well, thank you so much for that. I would hire me, please, because I would love for this to be my career. I don't want to have to get another 9 to 5. Once my unemployment ends from getting late, I mentioned this plenty of times, but again, for those of you that haven't been in my live streams before, I mentioned plenty of times that because of coronavirus, I got laid off from my job back in October. So I'm just here collecting unemployment, but unemployment doesn't last forever. And so I'm hoping, I could like finagle, this YouTube channel and stuff like that. Maybe start a Patreon, maybe sell some Black Gay Comic Geek shirts for those that are interested. I am thinking about it, to like not be able to have to find a regular job and make this my sole focus, because I do love doing this. And so long as you guys enjoy watching me, I will try to do it as much as possible and keep doing it. But yeah, Levant, no battles. Going to some of Jamie's comment. Yeah, Jamie did say that they did confirm. But yeah, I didn't see that. But according to Jamie, they confirmed that there's going to be some battles, episodes 7 through 9. So I guess just wait. You got to wait for episodes 7, 8, and 9 for those battles. So yeah, who knows? Last comment. I think Agnes wants Wanda's kids for some reason. Train them as a source of power to be stronger. I mean, maybe that could be it. If you know anything about the comics, Wiccan, and I actually plan on doing a video, not on YouTube, but I plan on doing a video about Wiccan on TikTok, which, funny enough, follow me. If you guys have TikTok, follow me on TikTok. Granted, for the most part, I don't post a whole lot of videos, but for some reason, I decided to do a video because I saw a lot of people sleep on how powerful Storm is in the comics. And so I just wanted to do a quick 60-second video about all the things that Storm can do in the comics that they never show in the movies, and the fact that Storm is an Omega level mutant. And that video blew up on TikTok. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should do a little bit more of these. So I have a couple more videos, and like I might do a part 2 of the Storm video that might drop tomorrow. So I may end up doing one on Wiccan. But for those of you that don't know, and I'll summarize it real quick, or give a little thing going to Sabus's comment. Wiccan ends up being one of the most powerful characters in Marvel Comics, and one of the rare gay characters in Marvel Comics. There aren't really that many gay male, I should say, and really there are no gay black male superheroes in Marvel Comics. There's Prodigy, but he's bisexual, so he's LGBTQ, so he counts, but then he's the only one. But anyway, Wiccan Wiccan ends up being one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel Comics. And in the future, he's destined to become what's known as the Demiurge. And what that means is he is destined to become a multi-dimensional being who gains the ability to rewrite the laws of magic. And whatever he decides will reverberate through all of space and time, both forward and backward. So I don't know if you guys have watched the anime Madoka Magica, but yeah, like once you make a rule, the rule that you like, if I decide today that I'll just make a random thing. If I decide today that vampires can go out into the daylight, not only will that rule apply today, it will reverberate through all of time and history. So even though I made the rule today and at this moment, vampires in the 1800s, because time is fluid. They say time is all happening simultaneously. So vampires now in the 1800s can now go out in the daytime, even though I just made the rule now. So that's basically what Wiccan will end up growing up to be. So that's Wiccan. So yeah, and I have, like I said, I have him and Hulkling. I have their figures down there. So they're Wiccan and Hulkling are like two of my not my most favorite, but they're two of my favorite characters in comics, mostly because before them you never really seen gay superheroes in Marvel, and then the fact that they were a couple on top of that, like. And then Wiccan has magic. I've always, again, if you never joined my live streams or anything like that, I'm partial to magic. Like I love magic and the supernatural. That's one of the reasons why Doctor Strange is more so one of my favorite Marvel characters, because of the magic, and I also love Constantine and the DC side. And I like Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's my favorite character. She's a witch. I love Charm. Granted, Charm fell off for me after season 5. But anyway, I'm not going to go on a rant any further. That's pretty much, I see I'm getting almost 2.5 hours, and I see I went from 30 to 19, but I still 19 people. That's still great. But yeah, and plus I'm hungry. My mother's hungry, so I'm gonna go get some food. But thank you guys for joining me on this live stream. I appreciate it. And if you guys weren't here on the live stream, or you're just watching me on the replay, I thank you so much for joining me and watching me. Hopefully you could join me on the next live stream. Once again, as of right now, I do plan on going live again with Jason, who joined me earlier. And also joining me would be Fantastic Frankie. If you joined me on other live streams, you would recognize her. She was on my live stream for when I reviewed the final episode of Lovecraft Country. And she was also on my live stream when I talked about the DisneyPlus investors meeting announcements and stuff like that. So the three of us will be talking about episode 3 of WandaVision, full on spoilers. So if you want to join me for that, I'm gonna probably say it'll be around. I must maybe say it'll be around the same time, maybe 2 p.m. But don't hold me to that, because I gotta check again with Frankie, because she just told me Monday if she didn't say what time. So just be on the look. Just turn your hit that bell notification button so you get alerted. So whenever I post the actual announcement that I'm going live, you'll get that notification bell or notification, so you'll know when. I'll make sure to post it in advance so you'll know. And just in case you got, because everybody got lives, they got stuff to do. Some people still have jobs and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys. In the comments section to keep this live stream popping. What's the 50 words I said again? Keep it hopping. And I will see you next week with my live episode recap of WandaVision. And I'll also be doing a non-spoiler review next week as well. That's not live. So be on the lookout for that as well. So yeah, happy Sunday, guys, and take care. Peace.